Parnas Relations mean for 45. Lev Parnas, the indicted Rudy Dumbass Giuliani associate at the center of the Ukraine controversy, has disrupted the days leading up to 45's impeachment trial. With a slate of newly released documents from the House investigators and round of TV interviews, Parnas and his attorney have offered remarkable and more than likely true details about just how far 45 and his allies were willing to dig up dirt um, on the squatter's potential 2020 rival Joe Biden. Text exchange show potential surveillance of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. Um, digital um, digital chats reveal Ukraine's former prosecutor general Lutsenko dangling dirt on Biden in exchange for Yovanovitch's firing, and Parnas has alleged he was acting at the behest of the squatter. Each allegation has already has the potential to fuel new investigations on Thursday morning alone. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, mused about a special prosecutor in the Ukraine government, opened its own probe and changed the landscape of 45 Senate trial. And Parnas might not be done. You understand what's going on, said his attorney Joseph Bondi earlier this week. Stay tuned. Here's what the latest revelations mean and what to watch for coming from Parnas in the coming days. Parnas and his attorney are doing what they think will be most beneficial for them, even if they are arguing it's also what's best for the country. When Parnas handed his personal documents over to Congress, it was likely in an attempt to show federal prosecutors and the judge assigned to his case, U.S. District Court Judge J. Paul Oaken, that Parnas wanted to help investigators however he can, and it may have been a move the legal team adopted after a cooperation agreement with federal prosecutors did not work out. Oaken, in the appointee of then President Barack Obama and known as a light censor in the legal world, was seen as a fortunate draw for Parnas. The current strategy may be an attempt to appeal to that reputation. We have decided to speak to the audience that will listen to us, Bondi said. It's in Lev's best interest to be as truthful as he can be. Addressing the possibility of a cooperation agreement, Bondi noted, with regard to the Southern District of New York, we have achieved many objectives I would have in trying to get a cooperation agreement with the federal government, but he added we are also doing what's in the best interest for America. Parnas pleaded not guilty last October to the federal indictment accusing him and Igor Fruman of funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars and foreign money into the U.S. elections, including a pro-45 super PAC. Federal prosecutors told Oaken in December that they were considering filing additional charges against the two men, one of several issues that have delayed the judge from setting a trial date in the case. The documents released this week will fill in more blanks about why Yovanovitch was specifically fired and targeted. Previously sworn testimony from career diplomats and foreign service officers have shown that the Yovanovitch smear campaign was waged on by Parnas, Fruman, Dumbass Giuliani, and the former Ukrainian prosecutor General Lutsenko. The circle was actually wider than that, though according to the new Parnas materials, a lawyer with close ties to the White House, Victoria Tosic, was also eager to see Yovanovitch removed. Is the wicked witch gone? Tonsing wrote on May 23, 2019. Parnas replied with some images and said the Daily Wire and the fake news site Breitbart are doing stories referencing the conservative media's drumbeat of negative coverage about the ambassador. Still Tonsing pressed and still no movement. Tonsing and her husband Joe DiGenova, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right either, represent Ukrainian oligarchy Firtash, who was fighting extradition to the U.S. and reportedly leveraged his network of sources in Ukraine to help pursue the political probe sought by Dumbass Giuliani in 45. Parnas told MSNBC on Wednesday that he tried to get the extradition order squashed in exchange for Firtash's help undermining Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation and digging up dirt on Biden. Harry Sargent III, an American businessman and influential Republican 45 donor, also appeared invested in Yovanovitch's departure. She's gone, Parnas texted Sargent on March 23rd. Awesome, he replied. Parnas' documents and interviews have also undermined 45's allies, claiming that dumbass Giuliani and his associates were freelancing with their scheme to oust Yovanovitch and gather dirt on the Bidens. He lied, Parnas told MSNBC on Wednesday when asked about 45's claims that he didn't know Parnas or associate Fruman. He was aware of all my movements. Parnas said, I wouldn't do anything without the consent of dumbass Giuliani or the squatter. When meeting with Ukraine officials, Parnas said he would call dumbass Giuliani and put him on speakerphone in front of the Ukrainians to prove that he was legitimate and acting on behalf of the squatter and his personal lawyer. The documents also include an email from 45's other lawyer, Jay Sukolo, revealing that Sukolo spoke to 45 about his former lawyer, John Dowd, representing Parnas and Fruman. The squatter consents to allowing your reputation of Mr. Parnas and Mr. Fruman, Sukolo wrote on October 2nd of 2019. Parnas handed over photos of himself with multiple photos of 45 and the family and the administration all being included in the photo. Further highlighting his ties and access to the squatter and members of his inner circle, dumbass Giuliani represented himself as acting on 45's behalf also. Included in the trove of new documents is a letter that dumbass Giuliani wrote to Ukrainian President Zelensky on May 10th of 2019, asking for a meeting in his capacity as personal counsel to 45 and with knowledge and consent. At the time, dumbass Giuliani signaled in the media that the visit was related to his pursuit of investigators that might be beneficial to 45. I'm asking them to do an investigation that they're doing already and that other people are telling them to stop, dumbass Giuliani said at the time, and I'm going to give them reasons why they shouldn't stop it, because that information would be very, very, very helpful to my inbred client and may turn out to be helpful to my client government. Dumbass Giuliani has not responded to requests for comment about the Parnas charges in a text to a Washington Post reporter. The former New York mayor replied, "Believe him at your peril." I already believe him, even though it's not at my peril. The fresh details from Parnas has Capitol Hill and the legal world buzzing about whether it has created new avenues for prosecutors. Already, the Ukrainian government has said it would look into the surveillance allegations, which came out in text exchange between Parnas and a 45 blower, Robert Hyde. It's unclear if the U.S. government would do the same. Bondi said the FBI has never questioned Parnas about the stalking issue. The FBI declined to comment, citing its standard practice of neither confirming or denying the existence of an investigation. On Capitol Hill on Thursday, Pelosi suggested that in the past, the mounting evidence that was emerging would normally lead to a special prosecutor, but she conceded that such she conceded that such a route was unlikely with the administration's current leadership. The veracity of some of Parnas' most explosive claims in recent interviews, including that Attorney General Bill Enbred Barr was on the team pursuing dirt on Biden, has also been called into question. These documents released so far don't corroborate the Barr accusation. For example, on Hyde's surveillance claims are being described by Parnas and others as an odd, unserious boast. Additionally, Hyde has destroyed potential history of erratic behavior and outlandish damage. Politico had reported on Wednesday, but still both FBI officials did visit both the home and business of Hyde on Thursday. CNN reported it's unclear whether that action was spurred by the newly released documents or if it was a bid to ensure that the GOP operative didn't destroy potential evidence as they continue to investigate the case further. Overall, though, legal experts noted that some of the last Parnas claims and document dumps represent hearsay evidence, appearing largely based on what he was hearing secondhand from figures like dumbass Giuliani instead of directly from 45 or inbred Barr himself. Democrats on Thursday used the Parnas discoveries to stump further argument that 45 Senate impeachment trial should include witnesses and fresh evidence. Senators have still not set down the final rules governing the trial, leaving an opening for Democrats to keep pounding the drum for the preferred trial. But Republicans showed no indication that their stance had changed. Most want a contained, quick trial with no unexpected testimony or revelations. Bondi indicated that he was squarely on the side of opening up the trial and acknowledged that they were trying to influence the upper chamber's proceedings with the media blitz and congressional cooperation. We are trying to raise awareness for the need for there to be a fair tribunal with additional evidence and witnesses called, Bondi said in an interview just after Parnas transmitted the first batch of documents to the House Intelligence Committee. We are raising the stakes on this. The Parnas-Bondi publicity campaign continued throughout Thursday with no indication that it will abate in the coming days. Only minutes after 45 repeatedly and vigorously denied knowing Parnas Thursday afternoon, Bondi was swift to issue a snarky tweet with a video of 45 and Parnas interacting at Mar-a-Lago, the squatter's South Florida resort. It was indicative. It was indicative of Bondi's social media campaign he has waged in recent days, tweeting out short photos photo slideshows of Parnas grinning next to 45 and his family, issuing calls to call the witnesses, hear the sworn testimony, and rounding it off with the call witnesses, hear the sworn testimony, and rounding it off with call to action hashtags. Let Lev speak. Lev speaks. Lev remembers. They all knew. But in an interview, Bondi was coy about exactly what else they might have to offer. Yes, but no, Bondi said on Thursday when asked whether Parnas has additional material to back up his claims. But yep.